Today we're going to talk about the heart model that we're working from, how you understand the heart and desires and how change works in a human being. And the second thing we're going to talk about is the two brains, the emotional and the rational brain. So let's start with the heart model. And first of all, biblically, the Bible sort of separates you into two main pieces. There's your heart, and there's your actions that come out of your heart. So, for instance, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Or, can a spring bring forth both fresh and salty water? Those are verses that are saying what you do comes out of who you are. Your action comes from your heart. So, if we want to change your action, you have to change something inside here. Now, I find it helpful when you're talking about change and trying to figure out how to change to think about some different categories of this whole everything inside of me that the Bible calls the heart. So, a first level of the heart would be my conscious mind, what goes on in my head from moment to moment. So I have thoughts, I have emotions, I make decisions. Those are all processes that are constantly going on inside of me. So that's sort of level one of the heart. Underneath that, the research is scientifically, and I think behavior and just looking at the way you function would confirm this, that a lot of the stuff that happens in your head from moment to moment comes from stuff that's deeper inside of you. So, for instance, I have this fear of snakes that I've had all my life, and I see a snake. My response to it comes from the memory and the beliefs that I have about snakes. So, this unconscious level that I call identity is made up of my memories, my wounds, my vows, my beliefs. It's sort of what life has made me, or who I've decided that I am and how life works. So, one note here when I'm talking about a change model of the heart, so we're not going to treat things like personality type that don't change. We're only talking about the parts of us that can be changed. Um, so, in this identity realm, I have memories, I have emotional memories, I have wounds, I have beliefs that I've formed out of experiences. And a lot of what happens in my mind and comes out in my actions originates there. Now, when Christians work at change, usually what we do is we pick a behavior we don't like and we discipline ourselves about it. Uh, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't work, especially if we've tried 20 times and it hasn't worked, maybe we'll go get inner healing, or we'll start to look at why do I do this kind of thing? And we'll look at the identity realm of what are the memories behind it. Counseling does a lot in this realm, so does inner healing. But what we almost never do is get down to the level of desires. And the idea of desires is there are these fundamental needs that we all have. Uh, and one way of thinking about this, they're physical and psychological needs. So food, clothing, and shelter, these are the psychological equivalent of those physical needs that we have to have. So we need love, we need recognition, we need justice, we need peace. Those are all things our hearts long for. And if we don't have them, then what we do is we start leveraging all the resources of our soul, our being, in order to get that. And often we attach those desires to things in this world. So I say to myself, oh, if I could just get the house paid off, then I would feel secure. Or if this group in school would like me, then I would feel like I belong. Or if I could win this award, then I would feel valuable. Or if I can do this accomplishment, then my dad will finally say he's proud of me. And those are all statements that reflect there's a deep desire in me, but I'm looking for a relationship or a thing in this world to give me that. And the beauty of praying your desire is those things can be really hard to get. And often they become idols because we go after the thing as a replacement for God. I don't know how to get my desire for love met in you, so I'm going to try to get it from a relationship. But the beauty of praying your desire is, in a minute, Jesus can touch that part of you that's deep inside and fill it. And when it's filled, the need for this thing starts to go away. And it's the need for those things that drives a lot of our really ugly behaviors. So I need approval, I need acceptance, and I'm in ministry. And so I start to do my ministry to get applause, and I love it when people say I've done a good job, and I hate it when people say I've done a bad job. So I try to do things in a way that no one will say that I'm doing a bad job. Now my behavior in ministry is being driven by my need. And we all do this kind of thing. It's the human condition. But Jesus has come to us to set us free from that, and we can ask him for what we desire, and he will give it to us. And James 4 is really clear about this. What causes wars and fightings among you? It's your desires. They're at war inside of you. There's a war between what you want to do with your will and what these deep needs want. They're fighting each other. And when you can't get what you desire, you covet, you'll go out and kill somebody because you need this really bad. And James's solution to the problem of desire is very simple. You have not because you ask not. And you ask and don't receive because you ask for the thing in this world that you think will give you the desire, instead of asking for Jesus to meet the desire in your relationship with him. So all throughout the rest of this course, we're going to be doing a lot of praying like, Jesus, how am I secure in you? Jesus, how do I belong to you today? Jesus, what do you like about me? Jesus, how has your justice been at work in my life? And we're going to let him touch that part of us directly. And you'll feel the filling and the letting go of the external thing that's causing you pain and stress as Jesus fills your heart. It's a beautiful thing. So that's the heart model. Actions come from the heart. I have the level of my conscious mind, what goes on in my head from moment to moment. Underneath that, my identity, which is sort of what life has made me, who I've become through life. And below that, desire, fundamental human needs that are designed to be filled in my relationship with God. You don't discipline your desires. You don't deny your desires. You get your desires filled by Jesus. Now, a key to working with desires is that desires are most accessible through the emotional brain, not the rational brain. And most of us are used to functioning in the rational. The rational is when our rational brains are functioning, we're talking about facts and data. We're analyzing. We're standing back from the situation to be objective and looking at it. If I'm functioning in my emotional brain, that's the realm of experiences and images and metaphor and feeling. And much of the teaching and training that we have in Christian life comes at us through the rational brain. And it's good to have your rational mind redeemed. But what that doesn't do is the rational brain has these filters of how I'm supposed to look and what I'm supposed to do and what a good Christian does. And those filters block the word that comes in from touching our heart. But the emotional brain doesn't have that filtering system. So we can bypass all our social norms and all our beliefs and all this other stuff and go right to our heart through the emotional brain. So to be whole beings and to really allow Jesus to have all of us, we have to learn to let him touch us through the emotional brain. And since the emotional brain speaks the language of experiences, if you want your emotional brain to be touched, you have to create an experience for that to happen. And I'll give you a key understanding with the emotional brain, and this is life-changing. The behaviors that you most want to change, the things that are hardest to touch, almost always originate out of your emotional brain, not your rational brain. So if you've been using all the change tools that work with the rational brain, I'm going to quote this scripture, or I'm going to do this discipline, I'm going to use my will. Um, those things often don't touch the problem that's rooted in the emotional brain. But praying your desire does, because it speaks the language of the emotional brain. So this is a powerful tool to help you change.